Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Cambry, and if you missed my first video, it was really an intro, a very clunky intro, but an intro to the type of lifestyle that my husband and I live, where we are debt-free, we have time freedom, and this is going to be the beginning of a series on how we got here. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about our RV purchase, and plus a little bit of backstory to that, what got us to this point. I apologize in advance. I'm, again, as I said in the first video, not very comfortable on camera, but I'm working on it. So, anyways, so to start our story, Herbert and I got married in 2015, and we did all the things that newlyweds do. We ended up leasing a larger place that we got together, purchased 2 new vehicles. We did all the things. You know, we did the things, and we got ourselves into a decent amount of debt. And, you know, we didn't really know any better. It's just what you did as a married couple. You expanded your life, per se. So, you know, we took on this debt. Thankfully, we never, we never purchased a home or anything like that. For me, I was always apprehensive of that, mainly because I've always been nomadic by nature. I've always traveled. I've traveled since I was a young child, and throughout my adult life, I enjoyed travel. And there were times, you know, I would live in a place and I would get bored with it. I'd get bored with the neighbors. I'd get bored with the layout. I could only rearrange my furniture so many times. So at that time, I had been working in a lab as a senior laboratory technician, and it was a great job, government job. So I had a pension, which is unheard of these days. I had all the coverages, insurance, benefits, stability, great pay, anything and everything you could want for a job. And I could have stayed there until the day I retired. The problem is that I was numb. I I did not like going to the same place every single day. Every single day it was the same faces, it was the same conversations. The lab that I worked in had no windows, so it was all fluorescent lights. And I was just dying inside, you know. I knew that there was more. There was more out there for me. There was more out there for my husband. So now Herbert, on the other hand, he worked in sports television. So he would go and work basketball games. He would work football games. He worked the Super Bowl. He had a pretty exciting career when we first got together. And, you know, it's, bless his heart, he worked really hard to get in that position, and then he married me, and I want to leave, you know, but, you know, we spent a lot of time talking about our dreams, where we wanted to go, and I just kept coming back to that feeling of is this it? Am I going to be seeing the same faces every day, driving the same route every day, dealing with traffic? Just all of it was really wearing on me. And on paper, everything made sense. Everything made sense. We were married. We had a nice place to live. We had nice vehicles. We had money. We had the ability to plan for a good financial future, even though we had dug ourselves into some debt. But just internally, something felt off to me. So I really started feeling boxed in. And Herbert and I started, watching YouTube more, which we've watched YouTube for years. And we stumbled across full-time RVers. And it was like, a light went off in my head, and I'm like, oh my gosh, people they're doing this. They're, not doing the normal 9 to 5. They are, working either remotely, or they're working seasonal jobs. They're, seeing all these beautiful places and national parks. And, I just saw that and thought, okay, this is really possible. There's, our children are grown, they're adults. So, there was really nothing keeping us in the area we were in. So we were watching these channels. One of my favorites was Adventure Van Man. Keep Your Daydream was another one that I watched quite a bit back then. And, I just was really drawn to that lifestyle. And the more we talked about it, the more, Herbert started seeing that vision. And so, after months of looking at it and researching, we started looking at RVs, learning about RVs, learning about the different types. You've got your Class A's, your B's, Class C's. Then you have your cab overs and your pull behinds and your fifth wheels. And, we really seriously looked at it. And then we progressed to the next step. And we went to RV dealerships. And where we lived at the time, there were quite a few within the area. And, we'd see some big, beautiful RVs that were way out of our price range. And then we'd see some not so good ones. And, we just kind of mapped it out on paper. Is this something we can do? What kind of work will we do? What kind, all these things. And then, we decided just to pull the trigger. We went to this one RV dealership, and we're looking, oh, that one's nice, this one's nice. And then we look up and we see the one. And I'm like, that thing is beautiful. And at the time, it was actually being cleaned and being prepped for sale. And we waited for the lady to finish on the inside, asked if we could take a look around. And we stepped in, and she did a phenomenal job because it smelled amazing in there. And went inside, and it was like, oh my God, this is it. I think this is it, honey. I think this might be it. And we checked it out, looked it over, and went and talked to the people, and we got to do a test drive. And we made the decision that day that, you know what, we're gonna go ahead and try to get this. So we did, and Several days later, we went back, went through it with a fine-tooth comb. We also hired somebody, which is important when you're making such a large purchase. We hired an inspector to inspect it, to make sure that everything was working on the inside. There were no, because when you purchase, generally you're purchasing, especially if it's used, you're purchasing as is. And with RVs, there's so many so many things that could go wrong in an RV. So, fast forward, we ended up making the purchase, and a few days later, we went and picked it up, and we were super excited, super scared, but super excited. We drove it back to our rental home that we had and parked it in the driveway, and this thing was so ominous in the driveway. I mean, we had to park it right up against the garage. It was amazing. But that it was frightening, but so exciting at the same time. And at that point we're like, well, I guess we're in this now. This is what we're doing. So at the time, we had about a month left. That was in August of 2017. And we had about a month left on our lease. It was going to be ending in September of 2017. So, we didn't know where we were going to go, what we were going to do. But we had decided, before we go any further with this, let's take this thing out. Let's go camping in it. Let's see how this goes. So we went for a camping trip one weekend. We were at the Corps of Engineers on Lake Lavon, and stayed for just a couple of nights. And so we had the opportunity to drive it there, to plug it in, hook up everything, test everything out, not just in a dealership parking lot. So and it was a great little trip. The bed was comfortable, we slept well. It was a really good trip. And then I don't know, maybe about a week or so later, we decided that we were going to go on another weekend trip, because the first one was very successful. And so we went, I actually went on Airbnb, of all places, and I found where this lady had RV hookups on her acreage, and it was very close to where we currently lived. So we decided, you know what? Let's go on out there and go for the weekend. So we went for that weekend. We had 2 cats at that time, so we took the cats with us. And we pulled up and parked on this lady's. It was 37 acres, right on the lake, and spent the weekend there. And it was really amazing. Very peaceful, very quiet out there. We were able to go fishing. It was amazing. So we ended that trip. Now, we made really good friends with the lady that owned the property, and we had talked to her while we were there and said, hey, if somebody wanted to stay here on a little more permanent basis, would that be something you'd be open to? And luckily for us, she was. And so that's what we ended up doing. After that trip, we kicked everything into high gear, and we started selling everything. We had a beautiful pool table. We sold that. We sold our refrigerator, all of our furniture, our kitchenware. We took from our home, we took everything that we felt like we needed in the RV, you know, and we definitely overpacked that RV because you actually need far less than you think you do. And so we did that, sold everything, and by the time our lease was up, we were down to it. We had nothing left, and I actually made a little bit of money in the process. So we got ready to go to this land, and you know, I got up for work one morning, and I went to work. The usual. Herbert wasn't working that day. He packed up all of our remaining items and our kitties into our RV and drove it to that property. Now, that property was actually about 10 minutes closer to my job at the time. So I got off of work that day, and I didn't go back to the rental house. I drove to that property, and that was it. We were full-time RVers as of that day. We were no longer held to that lease in that apartment, or I'm sorry, not apartment, it was a house. And it was the best feeling ever. I think we had made a fire in the fire pit that night, and cooked our meal, and just sat outside in our lawn chairs and listened. There were coyotes close by, and we were close to the city, but far enough out that we really felt like we were, you know, out camping. So after that day, you know, even though we weren't traveling, we were definitely full-time RVers. Now, we ended up staying there about 10 or 11 months, I think, before we leaped, and we took a big leap at that time. And it was amazing. I mean, we did take it within that, let's say 10 months. Within those 10 months, we took a huge vacation where we took the RV and we went down to the coast, and we camped for free on a beach, you know. Absolutely amazing. We were feeling all of that freedom, those possibilities. So this has gone on a little bit longer than I had thought, but I'm going to go ahead and cut it off here. In the next video, I'm going to talk about our time staying on that land, the things that we learned. We had a lot of mechanical lessons, a lot of personal lessons between the two of us, and I'll really kind of start delving into that and into the transition of you know, getting to where we are today. So if you like this type of content, definitely please you know, give the video a like, share, or you know, subscribe. That would be excellent. I do appreciate your time, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.